All right, so I had case number 16, which is the case of Jessica Santalone. Um, so here we go. So a little bit of background before I get into it. Jessica Santalone, her parents and her entire family are from Mexico. They smuggled her to the United States to find a doctor who could treat her lung and heart disease because nobody in Mexico could. They settled in North Carolina and they befriended a contractor who raised the money for her to get treated at Duke Medical Center. So what happened, Jessica? She's a 17-year-old girl who, after undergoing a heart and lung transplant, she died. So what ended up happening is the organs she received were from the wrong blood type. She was an O blood type, and the organs were an A. The procedure went wrong, and it led to severe and irreversible brain damage. And after they transplanted these organs into her body and they realized their mistake, they found organs that were her blood type to transplant in, and they went back and retransplanted, which took a very bad toll on her body and is one of the things that led to the severe and irreversible brain damage. So when the doctors informed the family, Jessica's family, who was standing by, hoping the surgery was going to go well, that they were going to stop treatment after they informed them of the mistake. Her mother told the press through a translator that they were going to take her off the medicine little by little in order to kill her, and that the doctors want to rid themselves of this problem. So looking back on this situation, this occurred in 2003 at Duke Medical Center. Get to the case study here. So there's a couple different things that could have gone better to ensure that this process didn't happen like this and that she would still be alive today. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is barriers to communication. And what these are, these things that affect the chain of communication between professionals and between like doctors to nurses and all that. What basically affected the organs being the wrong blood type. So to get the organs, they sent doctors from Duke to Boston to pick them up. And they never verified once they got there what blood type they were. They brought them back and they basically transplanted them without ever checking blood type. So one obvious barrier to communication here, which wasn't between the doctors, but is between her family and the doctors, is the barrier communication, which has to do with language. So Jessica's family's from Mexico, and by reading that, her mom had to communicate with a translator to get the story out to the press. That pretty much tells me her family doesn't really speak fluent English to be able to understand what the doctors are saying to them about treatment or about anything. So the curse of knowledge is another thing that definitely could have affected this situation. The doctors knew the terms they used and what the situation was when they described it to the family, but they didn't have the family didn't have the medical expertise, and therefore they did not understand the severity of the situation. And because of where her family is from, they're not likely used to seeing procedures like this, and they didn't understand the gravity of the situation. So some things that I think could have obviously gone better here. Obviously, they could have checked the blood type. Now, I know some barriers of communication, the curse of knowledge here, the doctor's not letting the families know what, not talking to them in terms that they're going to understand. That definitely affected this situation because the family didn't know how bad it was until the doctors basically came out and told her that their daughter was dead. And they're stopping treatment and their daughter was going to die because they made a mistake, and the family thought everything was going okay until this happened. So the ways the doctors could increase the understanding of not only the family but themselves, they could have established a level of comfort with the family so they knew what the family felt about this type of situation and how their culture would respond in this type of situation. One thing that I think definitely could have helped is they could have established their credibility with the family and made sure they knew the exact step-by-step process of what was going to occur with their daughter in the operating room. And they should have let the family know the risk and all the possible outcomes before surgery and explain that to them in terms that they could understand. So I'll go back here. Guess I didn't put that slide in, but I'm going to talk about this as well. So one of the things that I would do in order to make sure the situation doesn't occur again between not the this has nothing to do with the family by any means, but the doctors messing this up and getting the wrong type of organs, is they need to establish an effective system to identifying and making sure 100% that these are the organs they need to use in their future surgeries by blood type, and by delivery. So I think the main thing that they didn't do is they didn't have anybody verify the blood type, and they didn't have anybody they had people verify it, but it wasn't people who had anything directly to do with the surgery. So if I was the surgical staff in this situation, one thing I would do is I would make sure my nurses verified that blood type even before I got on a plane, or my physician that was helping me with the surgery got on the plane to go get these organs from Boston. They needed to verify the blood type and what type of blood type she was. So an effective way to do that would be to have 2 or 3 nurses working together to make sure 100% that this is what needs to occur, and establishing a plan of how they're going to get these organs, and then they needed to run it by the physician. So that right there would help to effectively eliminate the chance of messing that up with the organs. If they could have just identified the blood type, her family would have never been in this situation. Now, I'm not saying that the organs are the main thing that killed her, but just getting organs with the right blood type wasn't going to guarantee her survival anyway. She was in very poor health, but it definitely would have helped her odds. So the last thing I have here is some leadership questions for y'all to think about. What might have the doctors done to increase the chances that Jessica's family understood the true nature of the problems in this terrible circumstance? And then how would you organize the complex set of steps required in this transplant process to ensure that misunderstandings do not occur in handoffs between professionals? And I'm going to go ahead and upload this so y'all can respond to it. Thank you for listening, and I look to see what your responses are.